old lady down at the supermarket, bam, here's a picture of me, and they're all like, "Oh, you've got a nice body, haven't you?" Yes, I have, and that is because I focus on muscle density. This one is for all the guys out there in your 30s. You notice that when you get that little bit older, things start to change. You don't recover as fast as you used to. Feel a little bit achy in the mornings, and it's not necessarily a case that you feel in the DOMs, but sometimes your whole body just starts to feel that little bit heavier. Bobby's got you. Here is one essential change. It's kind of a swap in your programming starting tomorrow, which I think is going to help. So guys, when I compare pictures of myself in my 20s and my 30s, I actually think that I look a lot better now in my 30s. I look a lot bigger, a lot more full, a lot denser. But the one fundamental difference, the one thing I would take from my 20s over my 30s any day of the week is that feeling. I just felt invincible in my 20s. I felt like I could go to the gym every single day. Felt like I could smash it. I felt there was no consequence, no real consideration. Of course, I thought about recovery and things like that. I wasn't an idiot, but it never really caught up with me the way it catches up with me now in my 30s. When this problem became apparent, when this problem reared its ugly head, I had to think of solutions. And to be honest, getting older is just part of the package. You've got to modify your training. You've got to be smarter. You've got to be more considered. But there is one change that I made which really helped fend off injuries, fend off any little tweaks. In my 20s, the first thing that I would do as soon as I went into any workout was some sort of big, heavy, free weight compound lift. Now, I'm not a big fan of the barbell bench press. I prefer the heavy dumbbells, and I used to enjoy you're just getting like one rep out with the heaviest dumbbells possible. But of course, when you push into failure, when you are training in those sort of like 1, 2, 3 rep maxes, other muscle fibers, other stronger parts of your muscular system are going to take over to compensate for a lack of strength in certain areas. My upper chest was growing, but I was sometimes getting twinges in my shoulders as I was pushing. Sometimes when I really fucked up, it would hit my lower back a little bit because I was really arching my back and digging it in. The big fundamental change, the big realization I had was I needed to change my heavier work from free weights to machines, and it's a simple swap. So let's take chest day for example. Chest day, I actually did chest and back day, but let's just focus on the chest aspect. I would always start with those heavy incline dumbbell presses, and then I would supplement that with a lighter machine press. The reason I like to move on to the machine press, because I could have done the barbell press next if I wanted, is because everything is really locked in. When you work on machines, usually the idea of a machine, in my opinion, takes everything else out of the equation and allows you to focus solely on the target muscle. So when I'm doing seated chest press, I can forget about everything else, and I can really just focus on pinching my shoulders back and then really pushing through the chest. Now, I still want to get stronger, and I still want to push heavy weights, especially seeing as one of my main principles that I always talk about is muscle density. I don't want to suddenly transform my training into that classic bodybuilder style. It's just not for me. I like having lean, aesthetic, smaller muscles. Don't get me wrong, bodybuilders look great, but I don't live the bodybuilder lifestyle. I'm not enhanced, so I would prefer, if I'm going to be a more slight guy, you might look at me and think, you're not even big, why are you talking about fitness? But once I take my shirt off, bam! I want to shock everyone. The old man in the street, bam! Shut up, old man! Old lady down at the supermarket, bam! Here's a picture of me, and they're all like, "Oh, you've got a nice body, haven't you?" Yes, I have, and that is because I focus on muscle density, maintaining lean body fat, but also focusing on building aesthetic, dense muscles. Now, back to today's topic. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do that heavier work on the machines, and then I'm going to do the lighter work with the free weights. Where exercises are optimal, in my opinion, for bringing in smaller muscle groups. There's no getting around it. You got to get your stabilizing muscles involved. You got to get your core involved. You don't want to be neglecting that. But if I'm walking into the gym fresh and I'm like, right, today I want to smash chest, I am going to go to the plate loaded machines. Now, there's nothing wrong, by the way, with pin loaded machines. Some of them are very effective, but some of them I just find restrictive, locked in with one angle with very little room to maneuver. I prefer the plate loaded machines that kind of mimic the compound exercises as much as possible. When I moved back to Japan a year and a half ago, I went back to my old gym that I was previously at, and I was absolutely thrilled to see that they have invested in some hammer strength machines that they previously didn't have. Previously, they had just the Life Fitness pin loaded machines, and then they had like one bench, but now they had a selection of plate loaded machines around the gym. Made my life a lot happier. When I've just gone back to the Muscle Factory, they suddenly got Bench Fitness. Now, I've heard about this brand, but I've never seen it before, and these machines are fucking spectacular because you can adjust everything. On the chest machines, you can adjust the depth, you can adjust the angle of the handles, you can adjust everything so that you can hit the muscle in the exact way that you want. So these days, my workouts start with heavy plate loaded exercises, and then I'm going to move on to some free weights, and then usually end up with some cable work. Now, that's just the way I like it, guys. I'm not saying that you have to follow that structure. However, if you are like me, feeling that your body might be slowing down a little bit, it might need to adapt a little bit, you want to keep going, you want to keep going hard, you want to keep getting stronger, try switching your heaviest lifts to the plate loaded machines. See how that works for a while. For me, I'm able to push out a lot more. Now, there is something to be said about the fact that, like, you're in a starting position, sort of a set starting position. Let's say I'm here. I don't have to pick the bar up from a dead position. I simply have to push in order to work the chest. You can push a lot more on a plate loaded machine than you probably would be able to if you were to do a barbell press. On a hack squat, you can probably squat a lot more than you would be able to do on a barbell squat. For me, it's just safety. I feel safer when I'm on a machine pushing heavy weights than I do under a barbell. Maybe that makes me weak, maybe that makes me a little bit of a scaredy cat, but I'm getting older, I still want to train hard, I don't want to be giving anything up when I'm in the gym, I don't want to get injured, certainly don't want to be laid off for a long period of time. My worst nightmare is to tear a muscle clean off my body. I mean, that would be horrible anyway, but you know, like, be out of action for like 3, 6, 12 months. It would drive me crazy. So I am going to take all the precautions necessary to ensure I, first of all, avoid injury at all costs. Second of all, I'm able to push myself. Thirdly, and most importantly, to just be able to maintain this lifestyle that I love so much. For me, it's the best part of the day. Playing with my daughter is the best part of the day. That goes without saying, obviously. You know, being with my family is the best part of the day. My personal time is the best part of my day. Love getting in the gym, putting some music in my ears, zoning out in one way, but then making eye contact with everyone I see, and just pushing my body to the limit. Absolutely fucking love it. Wouldn't give it up for the world. You shouldn't give it up for the world either. Even if you're getting older, it doesn't mean you have to stop. It doesn't mean you have to slow down. It just means we have to be smarter. I am here sharing my knowledge so that you can be as smart and as shredded as I am. Guys, if you are getting a little bit older, starting to feel a few aches and pains creeping, just make that small, simple change. It's certainly helped me. I'm not saying it fixes everything, but it's certainly worth considering. It doesn't mean we have to neglect the free weights entirely, but it's just all about adapting and moving forward. Hope you've enjoyed this video, geezers. Drop a comment down below if you've got any other tips for us aging athletes. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and until the next one, guys, have a nice day. Bye bye.